Right then guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the GolfMagic channel. I'm Alex, the video and equipment editor here at GolfMagic, and today you join me at Mannings Heath Golf and Wine Estate. We're going to run through the top 5 driving range mistakes that we see as amateurs making, as beginners, and even as some low handicap players. The driving range is a lot of fun when you go to it with your mates or even by yourself, but I think there's a lot of misconceptions that people have as to how they can use it to improve their game. So let's get into it right now. So, number 1 of our driving range mistakes. Now, these are not in order of importance, but they're more in order of kind of chronological sense of when you actually arrive to the driving range to when you leave. So number 1 is warming up. We see a lot of amateurs when they go straight to the range, grabbing driver instantly and trying to hit 300 yards on their first hit. Take a look on YouTube on some PGA Tour videos as to see how Rory McIlroy and other players warm up, because they don't do that. They go straight to their wedge and get warmed up by hitting 40-yard shots, 50-yard shots. They really loosen up their body. And if you think about it, any sort of sport, you don't go straight into it. Thinking of weightlifting, if they go straight into a 200-kilo deadlift, they're going to injure themselves. If you go straight into hitting driver, the shot that probably has the most exertion on your body, it's not going to end well, and you're not going to get a good practice session in because you're not letting your body adjust and get used to the swings that you're going to do. So what would we recommend? Well, it depends on how many balls you have. But we'd always recommend starting low first, starting with some chip shots like they do on the PGA Tour. Start hitting some 30 or 40-yard shots, just trying to understand how to actually get through the golf ball and make sure your body is loose and ready to actually hit some full swings. Then you can move up the bag, go to those 6-7 irons, make sure you get those full swings, make sure your body is completely ready to hit those massive drives, and hopefully you can hit it over 300 yards. This should be a lot easier on your body, whatever your age is, and also means that you should probably hit some better shots on the range. Now, once you've done that and loosened up your body, what's your aim? Why have you gone to the range? And that moves us on to number 2, and that is having a goal when you go to the driving range. Now, going to the driving range is a lot of fun, especially with your mates, and there's a lot of new technologies such as Top Tracer at some UK and some all along the globe driving ranges, which means you can basically just have a laugh. If you are trying to improve your game, you should always go to a driving range or any practice area with a goal set in mind. If you're going to the driving range just to hit 100 balls and leave, you're not going to improve your game. You may even make it worse because you're impounding some mistakes that you've already had in your swing. If you're hitting it out to in with a massive slice and you go to the range, you're just going to make that more familiar, and it's not going to help. If you go to the range with a goal set in mind, you can know actually what you're going to do to achieve that rather than just hitting 100 balls aimlessly and not understanding what you're actually supposed to be doing. A very good example of this is, as I said, if you're hitting it out to in, if you are hitting that slice and you know you're doing it, you can go to the range and say, okay, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on my swing path today, and I'm going to try and stop this slice. That means you've got an actual goal when you go to the range, and you can actually make it practical rather than just hitting 100 balls and not really know what you're doing. That moves straight on to number 3, because if you've got a goal in mind, how are you going to achieve it? Because if you know you've got an out to in swing path, what are you going to do? Well, you guys should do drills. You guys should use practice aids, training aids, and try and fix your swing. Don't be ashamed of bringing any sort of practice aids that you want to the range. With me today, I've got a resistance band, and I can use that for 2 things. I can use that to connect my body when I swing, and also to make sure my left knee doesn't collapse in the backswing. Does it look a bit weird? Yeah, but everyone's at the range for the same reason, and it's trying to get better at golf. There's so many training aids you can use, from, as I said, resistance band to alignment sticks to, there's countless things, and it depends on what you actually want to achieve when you go to the range and what you want to achieve in your golf swing. If you don't know what drills to do, if you don't know what practice aids to get, I'd recommend looking it up and looking at our recent golf tips videos to see what you want to achieve and then what you should be doing for that, because there's so many drills you guys can be working on. These go from swing path to impact to even just golf grip itself. So you guys should always be working on something when you go to the range and have some drills to back this up. And that moves us straight on to number 4. How do you know if you're improving your game? How do you know if you're stopping that out to an impact? How do you know if you're hitting the ball better? Well, this is quite a difficult one, but we'd always recommend every once in a while, if you are at a driving range or at a practice range, making sure you get some necessary feedback for whatever you're working on. This is obviously dependent on what you're working on, but a great example would be if you're working on trying to hit the golf ball better, get some spray and put it on the club head itself, because that means that you can actually see exactly where you're hitting the golf ball. And let's say if you did it at one range session and then 6 weeks later you did it at the next range session, you could see how good you're becoming. If you don't have some spray, you can get some club head tape really easily just off eBay or anything, and you can literally see exactly where you're hitting it. That's quite a specific example, but if you are working on a slice, let's say, and you are at the range, obviously the main feedback you would see is visually if you're not hitting a slice anymore. But we'd always try and get to a launch monitor or something where you can actually get some proper data to see if you are not actually hitting it that far right anymore. Any sort of launch monitor will tell you how much curve's on the ball, and a lot of driving ranges now have Top Tracer where you can see how far it's actually going left or right. Having this feedback means you're never going to get stuck at a driving range. You're never going to not understand why it's not going right or understand why it's going wrong. And finally, for number 5, we're going to go into attitude, the mental game. This is something that I see a lot on the driving range, because people really do think after one range session they're going to get it right and they're going to fix their slice. Unfortunately, golf's not like that. Golf is an absolutely horrible game that always brings us back and is A lot of fun, but it's also very frustrating. If you've got a slice and if you've got an out-to-wing swing path, that's your most comfortable swing. And to change that is going to take a lot of time. Professional golfers hit 400-500 golf balls on the range for a consistent amount of days in a week. If you're hitting 30 golf balls once a week, you're not going to change your swing. You need to do drills consistently. When I first came to golf, I had the worst swing ever. I looked like Jim Furyk, except it didn't work out very well. And it took me about 6 months to consistently, every single day, I did golf drills. If it wasn't at the range, I did it in my room. And I made sure that I tried to get back on plane, and it took a long time. And it wasn't particularly fun, but at the end of it, I became a much better golfer. And that's what people need to realize, that if you're trying to change a swing, if you're trying to really change a swing drastically, it's going to take a while. And you shouldn't think after one range session it's going to be fixed, because it's not. Is it going to be better? Well, yes, if you do the right things, but don't be downhearted if after 50 golf balls it's not gotten that much better, because you're making the right steps, you're getting there, and it's going to take a while, but if you keep doing the right things, you guys will become better golfers. Those are our top 5 driving range mistakes. As you can see, they're all quite basic, but I'm sure a lot of people watching will probably do a lot of these mistakes, and I'm definitely accustomed to do a few of them when I'm a bit bored as well. You just got to stay concentrated when you're in a driving range, and it's quite difficult to do, and it's also quite difficult to not get angry if you hit a bad shot, but if we're all working together, I'm sure we can all improve our golf games. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video today here at Mannings Heath Golf and Wine Estate. If you guys are new to the GolfMagic channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to keep up to date with all of our golf videos, golf challenges, you name it. We've got it to keep you guys entertained for all of 2021. I'll see you guys at the next video.